Cast your minds back 8 months ago, Halloween 2024, on the release date of a certain very consequential game, when you had the one, the only, the last great games journalist tweet out, "Go woke, go bro, top of the charts." Now, what is this in reference to? Well, that would be from a game that was the darling of all of the journalists around the world. And well, I would go ahead and show you the actual context, the different screenshots that were out there, but you might be able, if you could take a look at the picture on the left first and foremost, well, it's a mixed reviewed game at full price that ended up being the best seller for a little while, and it ending up peaking, it topping out at 58,000. Just about 59,000 concurrent players in its first day of full release. What game exactly are we talking about? Well, we're talking about none other than Jason Schreier's favorite, which he will go ahead and he'll tell you all about it over there on Blue Sky, but I ain't hopping over onto that leftist echo chamber, pedo paradise, hence why I don't have the actual tweet itself. But Jason Schreier, he loved Dragon Age the Veilguard. It was the best game ever. All you chuds were wrong. It was gonna be a big hit, and here we are 8 months later, and they're still coping about it. But at least, well, now they're being honest about it, okay? Because you got inside the Dragon Age debacle. That gutted EA's BioWare studio. Now, unfortunately, as you can tell right here, I'm not subscribing to Bloomberg to read Jason's article because nobody's going to. But shout out to that Park Place for summarizing this big cope session that's going on, because the last few remaining games journalists, they cannot keep this failure out their mouth long enough for us to just simply forget this studio, wash BioWare's latter-day failures out of our minds, and just give thanks to the many fantastic games that they did provide us from years gone by, and let this thing rest. Because here I was thinking a couple of weeks ago, like, it was pathetic that this thing was still being brought up. You had, a voice actress come out and say, it's so bad that everybody was cheering on this game's failure, when in actuality it was just, why do you keep on talking about it? Everybody has moved on. Hell, most people moved on after this game flopped, when EA came out and said, 1.5 million engagements. How many sales? 1.5 million engagements. All right, cool. So way, way, way under a million sales, but hey, a couple of people played it and, used it successfully as Ambien in a digital format. But the reporter who mocked gamers about Dragon Age the Veilguard now calls it a debacle, blames everything but identity politics for the game's failure. Yeah, blaming, everything that the game represented, okay? Because, it did have the cringe non-binary session. It did have the whole gang getting around a bar discussing how big of a travesty, okay? Like, this is a game about, erasing all of humanity, okay? The fate of the world rests in their hands, but we need to go ahead and take time to really understand the implications of the biggest tragedy, okay? Misgendering somebody. We needed to have a discussion about that, okay? And there was cringe identity politics. There was several woke elements to this game. But all in all, like, as somebody who watched a fair amount of gameplay, like, this was just a bad game. Like, it was just slop mobile gaming combat. It was atrocious character work, some of the worst voice acting that you are likely to ever hear, dialogue that was written in crayon. It was so bad on multiple levels. Let's see if Schreier brings up any of those aspects, or if instead he's just simply going to blame EA for being greedy. On Halloween of 2024, I've been spooked on spooky day, spook again. Launched a quick flash of attention on Steam. For a few hours, BioWare's long-delayed fantasy RPG topped sales charts. That short-lived momentum was all it took for Bloomberg's Jason Schreier to mock the game's critics with a snide post on social media. Yeah, so glad so many people screenshotted that, because, I'm going to be able to use that forever. The jab was aimed squarely at players who raised red flags when the game's direction, players... about the game's director. Direction, sorry. Thought it was director. But yes, players who were ridiculed for daring to question whether a beloved franchise had abandoned its roots in favor of trend-chasing aesthetics and cultural posturing. Because the character creator, I forgot how AIDS that was, because BioWare spun that off as its own free-to-download application because, something that is so mundane as a character creation was the most laudable part of your game, where you could go ahead and put surgery scars and give your female, if you want them, or they, them, female presenting type 2. Is that what females are? I don't know, man. Okay. But yeah, you could give them top surgery scars in a fantasy game that you can literally change your appearance on a whim. But no. You need to have top surgery scars. Or you can give them a B-cup titty and an ass that looks like a frog standing up in tweed pants. It's just, such a great character creator that old wrestling games from the PS2 generation would laugh at. To try to tout that anything associated with Dragon Age the Veilguard is groundbreaking is fucking pathetic. The game's director, resigned to go and destroy whatever Wizards of the Coast is doing with gaming. And now, in an extraordinary about-face, Schreier has published a lengthy article calling the game a debacle. In the nearly 3,000 words, a post-mortem analysis. There's one thing Schreier never mentions, the exact criticism he once mocked. Schreier's article, Inside the Dragon Age, the debacle that gutted EA's BioWare studio, is thorough in many respects. It documents the tortured development process, nearly 10 years in development hell, going from, what was it originally called, Dragon Age the Dreadwolf, and then getting renamed around the same time that the director got reassigned, and then now it's, the Veilguard that just became this big old trans allegory. I guess write what you know, or pretend to know, or just, play pretend in perpetuity. Half of the time, 42% of the time it works out, all of the time. But yes, he documents, the torture development process, from live service pivots to management and fighting, to budgetary strain. But there's no doubt the BioWare faced immense pressure from EA to produce a commercial hit. So of course, just blame big bad EA. And no, I'm not sweeping for EA, okay? They're a shitty company, full stop, wholesale. And that doesn't excuse how atrocious this game is on multiple levels. But what's most striking is what the article leaves out. Not once does Schreier acknowledge the widespread and immediate backlash from longtime fans who felt the game's tone and character design had abandoned the mature fantasy roots of the series. The first trailer for the Veilguard was lambasted across social media for its Fortnite-like aesthetics, over-the-top, quippy dialogue, which I wish that was the worst aspect of it, and an ensemble of characters that many felt looked like a diversity initiative rather than a cast grounded in the world's lore. Even internal testers reportedly flagged the snarky tone as a concern. Of course, this is Joss Whedon's or James Gunn's Dragon Age, which is like, what the fuck, man? Like, that would be fine if this was like a Suicide Squad game. Oopsie daisy. But no. This is not dark fantasy. Okay, but still, if you wanted to have one of those comic relief characters, that would totally be fine. But everybody was written with that same voice, and it was tiresome. That's about the nicest thing I could say about it. But yes, the development. BioWare leadership, scrambled late in development to rewrite portions of the script to avoid comparisons to Forspanken. But by then, the damage was already done. Total inconsistency became yet another issue on top of already fractured gameplay and storytelling. Schreier mentions the dialogue rewrite, sure, but never connects it to a cultural criticism that had engulfed the game's reception. And again, the gameplay's ass, like the RPG mechanics are so fucking busted, like even on the highest difficulty. If you just choose a mage class, if you just have a ranged character, that shit becomes as easy as Zoe Quinn looking for a handout of good reviews. Like, this shit was terrible, but at least he highlights some of the writing. Instead, the article portrays the failure as purely a logistical issue. Leadership turnover, multiplayer confusion, marketing errors, and aggressive deadlines. Right. It's everything but the game itself. I didn't expect anything different. When Veilguard was revealed, players spoke up. They said this wasn't Dragon Age. It's the same shit that you hear. Oh my god, Andor's not Star Wars, and then it just ends up being the most banger Star Wars content since the original trilogy. But then you'll have people, oh no, it's not. It doesn't look like Star. Where's the lightsabers? Oh yeah, the Veilguard could have been a good game. It just wasn't. It fucking failed on so many different levels. Pointed the ability, to add top surgery scars, and the character creator of the game's seeming obsession with gender politics is a massive red flag. Yes, and the character of trash in and of itself. Just taking the canary and, reducing it to whatever the fuck that was. And then, this character right here, I forget her name, is just Oh, it's the worst voice acting and some of the most cringe dialogue. Like the first thing you do when you meet her, just shit that'll live rent-free in my head forever. Okay, she's talking about how you cannot escape this bubble, this biodome that they're stuck in. There's no way out, but she knows a secret way out. She contradicts herself in like 2 lines of dialogue. It's so fucking stupid. It is amateur of the highest accord. Yes, Schreier's piece contains some useful reporting. The article reveals the chaos behind the scenes of BioWare, the strain between Dragon Age and Mass Effect teams, but he had to go ahead and document that. Like, we've heard from different people working at BioWare that, yeah, EA loved Mass Effect, thought of Dragon Age was a side project, but I guess that can probably go all the way back, because when, Dragon Age Origins and Mass Effect 1 first came out, I seem to recall, depending on which outlet you were reading, like Dragon Age Origins was getting rave reviews, and the first Mass Effect game, it kind of came out to a middling response. Like, it definitely is the black sheep of the Mass Effect trilogy. Now, I think that narrative post the first couple of missions holds up exceptionally well, especially when you start to delve into the Reaper stuff, and then you get to the point in the story where you need to make a fairly consequential character-related decision. That's a very good game, and then it would go on and get infinitely better throughout the rest of the trilogy. I know people have problems with 3, but yeah, like I said previously, I think yesterday at some point in time, I made mention that I'm just about done with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, okay? And I'm looking for new games to play, or at least to revisit, and the Mass Effect trilogy, man, it's calling my name. It's been about, oh god, at this point in time, just about a decade since I played through that. I got the Legendary Edition remake that I know, it's been censored, there's not as many Miranda ass shots in 2, and it's like, that's fine. I've seen real asses before, and hell, we're reading some tweets from one in the form of Jason Schreier, and also Paul Tassi, who is out here singing the praises of Mass Effect. Mass Effect Andromeda 2, I would imagine, he's probably a big fan of that, but also Dragon Age the Veilguard over there at Forbes, and we touched on some of his, gritted teeth reporting on Stellar Blade yesterday, but yeah, it's easy to push back on this, but when the woke debates consume literally an entire online marketing campaign, that can, in fact, be damaging. And yes, Asmongold, what the fuck? Trashing something does actually matter now, like it or not. Not that you should cater to that, but it's where we are. And he's responding to Daniel Friedman. Despite all the BioWare higher-ups that he talked to, he intentionally missed the story. The game failed because it was defined in the minds of its critics. I would imagine, Friedman, I'll just go ahead and read the rest of this. It failed in the minds of its audience by YouTubers making fun of the quests about pronouns. This is a game that proved that approval from Asmongold matters more than the approval from IGN for launching a successful game. Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong on that one. And then you got somebody responding to Paul Tassi's quote tweet, saying, Paul, have you ever considered when quite clearly the majority of gamers reject these woke games, as seen in the failures of each and every one of these games, that perhaps you may be the one on the wrong side of this? Just ask yourself that one question, and then genuinely critically examine your own stance inside. Fair question, okay, and fair response to that. Do you think that in an attempt to appeal to the modern audience, that there really isn't no modern audience? We've seen it time and time again. They do not exist. Whenever you try to appeal to these fringe weirdos, they might share your stuff all over social media. They might just applaud your stunning and brave character development and your story progression. But when the rubber hits the road, or when the cash needs to hit the register, it's fucking tumbleweeds, brother. But Paul Tassi, just, big brain that he is, it's not a clear majority. It's a loud minority. Confession through projection, my friend. Okay, it almost looks like we're hitting Ben Shapiro levels of self-reporting. No game fails purely because it's woke. I mean, Dustborn, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Dragon Age, Veilguard, Unknown 9 Awakening. What's the name of some of them other woke games we got? For spanking? All these games also have real issues separate from all of that, obviously. Yeah, and okay, if you want to go ahead and extrapolate out what you mean whenever you label something woke, ideologically driven writing, character choices that would baffle even the blind. Yeah, cool. Just about every one of those games that I listed, and many other ones, check multiple boxes. So yeah, okay. No game ever fails purely because it's woke. I would say there's enough of a sample size to say you're a liar, okay? And to just Go back to his original post right here. Okay, Asmongold trashing something does actually matter now, like it or not. So obviously Zach is living rent free, and of course, well, Zach decided to chime in on this, even though he wasn't, tagged in the post. He's got eyes everywhere. He's got friends everywhere, if you will. Well, I'm sure making videos is a rallying point. The reality is that most people consume content that reinforces what they already believe. There are people who adamantly defend woke games, but no one watches them because those ideas and viewpoints are inherently unpopular. I mean, the man is just simply reporting the facts. You can't get mad at the messenger when the message is so obvious. It's just Paul, he kind of likes a different type of message, but it's just that audience, as Asmongold points out, is fucking minuscule. Take a look, man, like even the commentariats, okay, even the talking heads that are out there, take a look at the audience of a guy like Kyle Kalinske, secular talk. Oh my God, what's the name of that fucking jean jacket enthusiast? Holy shit, Sam Cedar. There we go. Majority Report. Those hacks. Take a look, okay, on off-election cycles. Take a look at what they do on a daily basis, and then compare that to the likes of Steven Crowder, Tim Pool, anybody like that. Like, even when they're not doing inflammatory shit, what is their a general audience looking like in comparison to your stereotypical progressive types? Why is Hassan getting so butthurt over Asmongold? They both ostensibly do the same thing. It's just who's trending upwards and who's trending towards jail. But Paul Tassi, he got his response, so he'll go ahead and, tank his credibility even further. The term influencer exists for a reason. People like you or Rogan, man, you're just swinging for the fences here. Or whoever also shape views on topics, not just act as a mirror. I mean, you can go ahead and point somebody in that direction, but if you're just simply spewing bullshit, the people are going to disregard your opinions moving forward. I have only seen, like, when I was first aware of Asmongold, obviously I know that he's been streaming for a very long time, but when he started to get into the commentary space, or at least when I became aware of him, was in on and around the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial in, 2022? God, it's been, holy shit, that seems like yesterday, but it was 3 years ago. Shit, man, that's wild. But yeah, I've seen him grow and dominate feeds, dominate the social media conversation for years at this point in time, because you can accuse Asmongold of many things, but being a fence sitter isn't one of them. And that's why I appreciate him. Okay, that's why I don't seek out his opinion on things, but whenever I see it, I genuinely and generally, I side with it. There's a couple of notable exceptions where he went off the reservation a little bit, but hey, he's entitled to his opinion and he's forthright and he can provide some evidence to his fact-based conclusions. And you know what? If we come to a different assessment of the situation, that is totally fine. But there is validity to his claims, as opposed to the progressive lean of this stuff where they're just making up shit on the fly. Same with Rogan. Like, he's got the biggest podcast for a reason, because if he doesn't know about a topic, he'll go ahead and explore it. He'll bring on the experts, okay? Unlike Douglas Murray, who will just go ahead and say, well, have you been there? And then just accuse somebody of, not adhering to what the mainstream media is doing and then just try to lambast them that way. But I digress. That's a well-litigated point at this time. But Rogan will do some fact-finding. Even if he has proclivities down one way, he will look for the truth and he will try to find it. That's why people respect and go back and listen for his opinion. They are a mirror. They're a mirror with, I would say, Post-it notes. Maybe Post-it notes around the edge of the mirror that are going out there and reminding you by the reflection has value baked into it. On top of that, negative content will get 10 times. Oh, shut up, the attention that positive stuff will, which applies to the whole anti-woke industry and why it's so successful. I mean, when they're taking a look at content that is so vitriolic and so hateful towards the cultural norms, traditional and conventional standards, who's the real negative ones that are out there? I mean, go ahead and take that. Oh, negative stuff just dominates the algorithm. Bro, when Asmongold praises something, it goes to the moon. How many, like, you've seen different creators out there that he's reacted to their content on, and he ends up putting them on, like, the meme of the Roach King handing out careers. It's like, when he likes something, it gets as much, and sometimes even more coverage. Same with Rogan, same with any of your favorite talking heads. If they like something, they will go in on it and they will elaborate on it. But if they hate something, they will use those same capacities to tear it down as well. It's not rocket science. It's not play into the algorithm. It's not being a grifter. It's something that is so foreign to so many games journalists that are out there. It's just simply being authentic, honest, and forthright. Authenticity is the currency of the realm, and it is something that is very lacking from old institutional outlets like Forbes and Bloomberg, Schreier and Tassi on Life Alert. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.